Okay, so Syr Konrad is one of the sweetest cards out of Eldraine, but at least to me, it's also one of those cards you have to reread over and over and over again. Because just look at that ability. Like, I feel like there has to have been a better way to phrase this ability than what they went with, but I'll walk you through it real quick. So, it says, whenever another creature dies, or a creature card is put into the graveyard from anywhere other than the battlefield, or a creature card leaves your graveyard, Syr Konrad the Grim deals 1 damage to each opponent. So generally, it's if a creature interacts with the graveyard in any way, he's going to ping your opponent for 1. Okay. There's a few corner cases where that's not true, but in general, if a creature is like going into your graveyard or leaving it, or is dying from anywhere or being milled from anywhere, your opponent's going to take some damage. Then he has a second ability that doesn't come up all that often, but is it's still there. You can pay 2 mana to mill 2. With the idea being that hopefully you hit creatures, and so if you play him turn 5 and turn 6, you untap and mill 3 times. There is a potential if you hit 3 creatures off the top of your deck and 3 creatures off the top of your opponent's deck, you just ping them for 6, right? So it's not an irrelevant ability, but there's usually better things to do with your mana than that. Syr Konrad's the card we're building around here. We want to combo with Syr Konrad. We want to take that first ability of his and just do a truckload of damage to our opponent. And there's a few ways we've set up to do that. Our first way is the Cauldron Familiar combo that's been kind of all over Standard now. People have just found out that Cauldron Familiar plus Witch's Oven, if you can slot it into a deck and kind of make it work, then you should. It's just powerful. Just turn 1 Cauldron Familiar, turn 2 Witch's Oven, and you just got your opponent on this kind of really hard to interact with clock that can chump infinitely and can gain you a bunch of life too while it's doing this, because Cauldron Familiar also drains a life. So that's the first way we're going to try to take advantage of Syr Konrad, because if we have a Konrad on the battlefield, this does a ton of damage. So when we sack the cat, Syr Konrad deals a damage to him. When the cat leaves the graveyard, Syr Konrad deals 1 damage to him. And then when the cat enters the battlefield, it does 1 damage to him. So we're talking about 3 damage just off of 1 cat and 1 oven. And if you start, increasing the number of ovens, you can really just kill your opponent, like kind of machine gun them down with these ping triggers pretty quickly. So that's kind of combo 1 with Konrad. Combo 2 is Forever Young. This one's a little harder to set up. The idea is Forever Young puts any number of creatures from our graveyard back to the top of our deck, and then we draw a card. And Syr Konrad cares about a creature card leaving our graveyard. So, say we have 10 creatures in our graveyard, we have Syr Konrad on the battlefield, and we play Forever Young. All 10 of those creatures go back on top of our deck, and our Syr Konrad just immediately pings our opponent for 10 damage, because 10 creatures just went out of our graveyard. So that's combo 2. Two other pieces that work with our Syr Konrad is a Merfolk Secret Keeper and our Wall of Lost Thoughts, both of which are going to mill us for 4. We're usually going to be targeting ourselves with these cards, unless we're just trying to mill our opponent out if they have some sort of deck that is conducive to that. But in general, we're going to be targeting ourselves. So again, imagine we have a Syr Konrad on the battlefield, we play a Wall of Lost Thoughts, and we end up milling ourselves for 4 creatures. Well, that's 4 pings to our opponent's face. Similarly is Imri, Lurker of the Lock. This is where we're spending one of our rares in our budget. She essentially is a 3-mana version of Well of Lost Thoughts, but also she lets us get back our Witch's Ovens, which is not irrelevant. If we kind of late game, we play out our Emery and we've milled ourselves for a bunch of cards between our Merfolk Secret Keeper and our Wall of Lost Thoughts, and we have some Witch's Ovens in our graveyard, we can start pulling those out. And we can start, getting back those cats that are also probably in our graveyard from all the self-milling. So this is more of sort of a late game sort of start pulling the ovens out of the graveyard, getting our combo set off to really try to finish our opponent off. But this is more of a fun of, this is more I just wanted to try it. We don't really have many other synergies with it besides just getting back the oven and, wanting to self-mill anyway. And then with all the graveyard filling we're doing, Blood for Bones becomes sort of the secret sauce of this deck. We can use it, when we're milling over a ton of cards. We will mill over Konrads, we will mill over cats, we'll mill over, all sorts of things we'll want to get back. And Blood for Bones lets us get it all back. All the self-mill suddenly becomes card selection. So if we mill ourselves with a bunch of Secret Keepers and Walls, we can get back our Syr Konrad and etc. It also kind of combos with Syr Konrad. If we pull 2 cards out of the graveyard, we can ping our opponent for 2. Not the most important combo, but hey, if we just need to do 2 damage if our opponent's low on life, then that's a way that's going to be kind of a 2-mana burn spell with a Konrad on the battlefield. And then to go along with that Blood for Bones, we have a couple heavy hitters to get back. Agent of Treachery, this is another rare in our budget. It's just a great card to get back with Blood for Bones. It sort of gives us a get out of jail free card with all the self-milling we're doing to have some way to answer something that we just can't answer otherwise. And also Scholar of the Ages. Scholar of the Ages goes really well with Blood for Bones in general, because you can just kind of keep getting it back and have a lot of value that way, but it's also a way to set up our Forever Young, so we don't have to run multiple Forever Youngs, which aren't really that good outside of our combo. We can just mill Forever Young over, and then when we have things set up where we want to do that combo, then we can just Blood for Bones back, Scholar of Ages, use Scholar of Ages to pull Forever Young out of our graveyard, and then do the combo from there. And then again, to kind of go with our Blood for Bones engine, we have Tomebound Lich can just gum up the ground pretty well, and can also, I mean, it goes with our Syr Konrad, you know, it comes in and loots, and if we loot away a creature, it does ping with our Syr Konrad. It's pretty good with Blood for Bones to put things in the graveyard we want to get back out of our hand, and then in general, it just helps keep us alive long enough to do our combo. The rest of our rares are a little bit boring, but I think absolutely necessary. First, we have Midnight Reaper, which we have a couple copies of this to go with our Cauldron Familiar. It's just really powerful to sit there sacking a cat, you know, a couple times a turn and draw a bunch of cards. You know, we would like to be running more of these. So if you have some room in your budget, or you just have a couple more Midnight Reaper sitting around, you probably want to run more of these, just because it's pretty powerful. Just to have, even if we're just, you know, throwing out these blockers, these 0/4 walls, if our opponent, you know, starts destroying them, we're going to start drawing cards, or it just makes it awkward for our opponent to attack. But really, it's best with this Cauldron Familiar. And then Murderous Rider is actually essential. We have to be able to interact with this deck, right? We don't have like a super fast or super unbeatable combo. We have a combo where we kind of want to stall our opponent out, we kind of want to get rid of their resources and answers, and then eventually when the kind of coast is cleared, we're going to slam our Syr Konrad and kill our opponent pretty quickly. But we need to be able to interact. It's essential that we do. And more importantly, we want to be able to interact without putting non-creatures into our deck. So Murderous Rider is perfect in that, because it's a creature to be milled over, you know, to go with our Konrad combos, but also it's interaction. So it's absolutely crucial. We're running 3, we should be running 4, but again, budget. And we're running, you know, a Tyrant Scorn here, but really this should probably just be another Murderous Rider. We just needed a little more interaction, so I threw in a Tyrant Scorn there as well. Land-wise, I'm running rare lands here, but if you don't have these, don't worry about it. Just run as many as you happen to have, and then run tap lands for the rest of it, and it'll, you know, the deck will work out most the same. You're taking a hit to the deck's power with that, but it's still playable. So just run as many as you got, and then don't worry about it too much. You know, besides that, just run these tap lands and guild gates and etc. In the sideboard, we've got Scrabbling Claws to deal with some graveyard-based decks like the Cat deck. A couple copies of Disdainful Stroke to try to deal with fires. Negate also to kind of help with fires or control decks. Noxious Grasp to deal with, you know, like Questing Beast decks, Nissa decks. Tyrant Scorn, we're running the other 3 copies of this. This is really, I mean, it's just a powerful removal spell. If you're in blue-black and you can run it, it's just, I mean, it deals with any creature in a temporary sense, but it deals with most creatures in a permanent sense too, just being able to kill most anything. Mystical Dispute, you know, most people know at this point Mystical Dispute is just a very, very, very powerful card. So bring it in against any blue deck. And we have 3 Cry the Carnariums, you know, against more aggressive decks, against go-wide decks. If we're playing against like the green-white adventure deck or something, Cry the Carnarium is very good. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So only 7 rares, most of them spent in Murderous Riders and Midnight Reapers, and really these are the most essential raiders. If you don't have an Emery or you don't have an Agent, it's not the end of the world. But Murderous Rider is probably a good thing to invest in anyway, to be honest. I mean, if you're playing a black deck in Standard for like the next 2 years, you probably just want to play a set of Murderous Riders, right? I'm going to have a little section at the end talking about potential upgrades you can have with a deck. You know, if you want to spend a few more wild cards, but yeah, for now, only 7 essential rares. Let's get some games going and see how this thing does. Alright, playing against... I'm not even going to try that name. Sorry. Oh yeah, this hand is pretty good. I mean, I think pretty much any hand we see a Cauldron Familiar and an Oven that has lands in it, we're probably just going to keep it. I mean, this combo, there's a reason why this combo is all over Standard right now. It's powerful. Cauldron Familiar. It just puts your opponent on this sort of inevitable clock that's pretty difficult to interact with main deck. Yep. Yep, we'll get in with the cat. island. We'll go ahead and mill ourselves for 4. Try to get some stuff in the graveyard for blood for bones. Oh my god. Well, there go the rest of our witches' ovens. They were all on top of our deck, and we just milled them all. That is good fodder for blood for bones, at least. And if we draw our Emery, we can start getting those witches' ovens back, which is really good. We'll go ahead and start doing our cat combo. Yep. Get back our cat. Okay, so we're gonna attack with our cat here, see if they want to trade. They do not. And I think we just... let's go ahead and get this Tomebound Lich out. Card. Yeah, I think we'll get rid of this Cauldron Familiar. We just don't really care about that. Okay, what crazy 4-mana thing are they gonna do? Okay, no, just more ramp. So they're probably building up towards a Nissa. This looks like just Bant ramp or something. Okay, get back the cat. The sweet thing about this Secret Keeper is if we sack it, we get 2. Land isn't really what we wanted to see. Okay, so we're gonna get in with both. See if they let us draw. They do. Draw a card. Jeez Louise, okay. Yikes. Well, start getting the lands out of our deck, so we'll crack the Fabled Passage. Get a Swamp. Play Secret Keeper. Pass turn. Probably just end up Tyrant Scorning something. Yeah, there's the Nissa we were... that's what we were expecting, so... yep.
The land shall conquer you.
Combat. I will block. I think we just Tyrant Scorn the land. Sacrifice our cat. Get our cat back. Bring back the cat. Come on, something good. Oh my gosh, we cannot get away from these lands. I think we just attack our opponent. I think... I mean, we're not gonna be able to kill this Nissa through damage. I'm gonna have to draw like a Murder Strider or something. Oh my goodness. My god. Okay, we have seen our fair share of lands and then some. So I think we just pass a turn. Holy cow. The bad thing here is Krasis. Krasis pretty much is going to gain them, but yeah, it looks like that's what they're doing. Ugh. Going to be able to get back. I'm going to be able to make a gigantic Krasis here, just gain a ton of life, draw a ton of cards. Ugh. We just had to hope we drew into a Murder Strider off of our Tomebound Lich, and instead we have seen just an absolute buttload of lands. Yeah, there's the Krasis. We knew that was coming, there's nothing we can do about it. Get the few remaining lands out of our deck here. And sack the cat. Get the cat back. Wow. Okay. Attack with Lich. Draw a card. Okay. That's Konrad. Discard a swamp. Play Konrad. This is a lot of damage. I mean, we can hit our opponent for 6. If they don't have interaction this turn, I think we can win. They either need another Krasis to gain a bunch of life, which, to be fair, isn't unlikely. Cavalier doesn't do it. Cavalier is not what we're worried about. Oh! Konrad! Yes! Punished! Oh, man. Okay, come on. No interaction. No interaction. No Krasises. Oh, another... Man, our opponent has no fear. Holy crap. Yeah, we ping our opponent again. I mean, Gilded Goose, okay. Oh, because they can gain 3 life back. That's not ideal. I guess the plan is just to have us dead next turn. They're just trying to set that up. Yep. Sure. Okay. We'll sacrifice our cat. Ping our opponent. Bring back our cat, which will ping our opponent twice. I think we got them. I think they're dead. So we'll attack with everything here. Attack our opponent. Yes. Ping our opponent for 3. There's no way out. You're gonna die, opponent. I mean, even with what he knows he's gonna die, right? Because we can sack this Merfolk Secret Keeper, get 2 foods, and get back both these Cauldron Familiars. So even aside from anything else, he's dead here. But he's doubly dead because we have a Cauldron Familiar in hand too. Sack our Cauldron Familiar, and that's game. Wow. Alright. That was, you saw. So our opponent went off. They had pretty much the best thing they could do. You know, turn 5 Nissa unanswered. Or actually, I guess that was probably turn 4 Nissa unanswered. And they just played a giant Krasis, drew a ton of cards, got a huge board full of fatties, and it just didn't matter. We just killed them anyway with our combo. They weren't able to disrupt our combo, and that was enough. It's just so much damage between Konrad and the cat. So I think we definitely bring in Noxious Grasp. That's going to be great against this deck. And Disdainful Stroke might be worth it. I guess so. I guess we'll bring in the Disdainful Strokes and go down. We'll go down. Tyrant Scorn's good against their... I mean, it's not bad. We're bringing in a lot of non-lands here, which is something we need to be aware of. So I think we go down to Konrad. Go down a couple Wall of Lost Thoughts. Go down Forever Young, and go down, I guess we'll go down Scholar. Run it like that. Alright, game 2. Yeah, I mean, it does have our combo. We are just completely flush with taplands here, but that's okay. Okay, we'll attack with Cauldron Familiar. Opponent does not trade. We'll play Dismal Backwater, Witch's Oven, and I guess actually none of our lands are going to come in tapped for the rest of the game, so that's good. I mean, unless we draw our other Dismal Backwaters, but in our hand at least. Alright, this looks like an instant replay of the last game, so we at least do have a Murderous Rider this time to deal with a Nissa. Okay. Sacrifice Cauldron Familiar. Bring back Cauldron Familiar. Blood for Bones is not bad. Okay, we'll play Watery Grave, untapped. And we'll attack with our Familiar. Again, we're okay with trading if they want to. They do not. Okay, Tomebound Lich. Draw a card. Oh, oh yes. So now we got something better to do if they play a Nissa this turn. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep. We're hoping they attack here, because we'll just trade. Looks like they don't have a forced land. You want to trade? They don't want to trade, so... But we'll sacrifice Cauldron Familiar. Get back Cauldron Familiar. For a time being, I think we're going to put a stop on the Cauldron Familiar train, because we just got better things to do, frankly. So we'll go get a Swamp, play Blood for Bones, sack Cauldron Familiar, get back Agent of Treachery, get back Cauldron Familiar, steal the Nissa, Untap. A land.
Be wary of the ground you walk.
And attack with our swamp. I guess we'll... Yeah, we'll attack with our Tomebound Lich too. Draw a card. Discard a swamp. And play Cauldron Familiar. Pass turn. Man. So this is how it feels like to play with good cards. Our little budget deck gets Nissa, huh? Man. What a powerful... Man. Sure. Looks like they're probably gonna attack our swamp. Sure. We'll sack the swamp. Make a food. Oh yeah, Cauldron Familiar is good. So we're just gonna Murderous Rider, get this thing out of the way. And I guess we can probably just win here, actually. I was thinking of all these sneaky plays, but yeah, our opponent's just dead. Sweet. So we pretty much destroyed Bant Ramp, and I mean, that's one of the better decks in the format. You know, just turn 4 Nisses, turn 3 Nisses is, I mean, even without the whole Oko food package, that's just, Niss is one of the most powerful cards in Standard, and playing her early is usually a death knell, but our opponent had the Nissa early, both games, and we just crushed it. Like, it wasn't really especially close in either game, even though our opponent did have a scary-looking board in game 1. Really, they weren't even close to killing us. We had them dead to that Konrad like 5 times over. Yeah, we just beat them just straight up both games. Just kind of outpowered this incredibly powerful deck with our first with our combo and then with our interaction. So sweet. Okay, playing against Tartinomiel. Probably got that wrong. Okay, and we'll keep this hand. The good old turn 1 Cauldron Familiar, turn 2 Witch's Oven, and or vice versa. Okay, turn 1 Cauldron Familiar, and let's see what our opponent's got. Yeah, we'll play the Dismal Backwater, just get that out of the way. Play Witch's Oven, get in for 1. Opponent's playing white with Fable Passage. Green-white, huh? Maybe the Green-white Adventures deck. Okay, I have no idea what our opponent's playing. And we will sacrifice our cat. Do this whole song and dance. Okay, we will play an island, play Tomebound Lich, draw a card. Guess we'll discard the Watery Grave. And yeah, pass turn. Okay. Questing Beast is pretty good against our board. When it gets in. Sacrifice our cat. Yeah, Questing Beast. We cannot block that with almost anything in our deck. Especially not profitably. Ugh. Well. Okay, I guess I try to attack with Tomebound Lich, see if we can get a draw. Come on, not a land. Yeah, well, that's good. We'll put Syr Konrad in our graveyard, then we will play Fable Passage, sacrifice this. Go get a swamp. We're gonna just bring back Syr Konrad. Konrad onto the battlefield, Tomebound Lich into our hand, ping our opponent for 1, and pass turn. And, I mean, we've got the cat Konrad combo to... Okay, our opponent's playing Bants. I really don't know what they're playing, but we're gonna start doing just a ton of damage with this combo. Konrad plus cat is a lot of damage. Yep, we're not gonna block this Questing Beast. Okay, sack the cat. Ping with Konrad. Bring back the cat. Ping with Konrad. And also, the cat pings when it re-enters the battlefield. Double bings. That's 3 damage a turn just off this cat by itself. Oh yeah, another Witch's Oven. So I think first we play Homebound Lich, see if we can bait out a counter or whatever it is they're holding up. Okay, great. Got the Frilled Mystic out of their hand. But that wasn't what we were really worried about. Because we have, Witch's Oven. So now we're going to be doing just a truckload of damage every turn. Jeez. If my count's right, 6 damage. Oh, okay. Teferi's a little painful.
Let's slow this down.
We're still gonna do it though. Sure. Opponent attacks. We'll take it. If opponent taps out here, I think they're still just dead. Wow, okay. I think we're gonna do this in response. Before this goes on the stack. So that they won't be able to cast a sorcery in response to us draining them for 6 here. I mean, our opponent's just dead, unless they have something. Sacrifice Cauldron Familiar. Yep, and they scoop it up. But I think they just didn't have anything. I mean, even if they bounced our Syr Konrad with Teferi, they were still dead, so... Okay, so our opponent's on Bant. It just looks like Bant mid-range, to be honest. So I think we go up Noxious Grasps for sure. And I don't know about anything else. Mystic Dispute probably isn't worth it. Disdainful Stroke probably isn't worth it. Yeah, I think we just go up the Noxious Grasps. Go down... Let's go down an Emery. Go down... I don't think they're going to give us time to screw around with Emery. Go down an Emery, go down a Wall. Go down 2 walls and try it like that. Wall is kind of bad in a matchup with Questing Beasts all over the place. I mean, Wall is primarily to mill us, but having a 0/4 body is usually relevant if your opponent cares about creatures at all. Just to save us some life over the course of the game, but if our opponent's main game plan is just hitting us with a Questing Beast... Ugh, yeah, we can't keep this. It was borderline, but okay, Tomebound Lich can fix this a little bit. Still isn't super ideal, but we at least have a way to put one of these lands in the graveyard and hopefully turn it into something a little better. We're not doing anything until turn 3, which probably isn't great against a mid-range deck that's going to be ramping and probably doing pretty broken things on its own turn 3. Okay, Cauldron Familiar. I guess we just play that. We might be able to get in a hit with it before they put down a ramp creature. Okay, Incubation Druid, sure. Yeah, we'll just play the Watery Grave tapped and pass turn. Okay, so they're representing Frilled Mystic. So I think what we do is just... I guess we attack. If they want to play their Frilled Mystic just as a blocker to eat our Cauldron Familiar, okay, they're not going to do that. So I think we just pass here and hold up this Murderous Rider. We can kill this Incubation Druid at the end of their turn, if anything. Okay, this is fine. Now we're going to... Okay, our opponent's going to untap. Before that untaps, we're going to kill their Nissa.
The land fights for us.
Okay. I think while they're tapped out, we're going to Midnight Reaper. And we're going to... As weird as this is, I think we're just going to play this Merfolk Secret Keeper as a 0/4. That blocks this Temple Garden, so we're not just taking damage from it every turn. And it's also good with our Midnight Reaper if they do want to kill our Merfolk Secret Keeper to get in some damage. We're going to be drawing cards off of it. I think that's good. Okay. Do we want to run something into a counter? I think yes we do. So we'll just run our worst spell into the counter, I guess. If they want to hit this with the Merfolk, okay. Still another body on the board, so we're okay with that. And no attacks. Sure. Okay, we'll block here, and we'll block these two. Again, if they want to interact, we're okay with that, because hopefully that taps them out as far as the Frilled Mystic goes. If not, we're okay with and we're okay with just trading a Murderous Rider with their land. Get to draw a card. Okay. Now we're going to attack and hope they run out the Frilled Mystic as a blocker. Okay, they don't, so we'll... This is probably going to draw out the counter. We'll play our Tomebound Lich, get it countered, sure. Yep. We're going to hold this Tyrant Scorn until they play something we want to kill. I mean, there's some argument to killing the Incubation Druid. Okay. I guess we murder the Incubation Druid, right? See if they got another counter. They do not. Okay, and our opponent scoops it up. So yeah, we just kind of outvalued them. We didn't really do anything combo-y the second game, but the first game we got. You saw the. I mean, that's what the deck wants to do. We just get Konrad on the battlefield, get the cat on the battlefield, and we're pinging for 6. We were pinging for 6 damage a turn, just with our cat. You know. And really, we had them in a position where even if our cat wasn't about to do lethal, I mean, you can't even really attack, right? Because you have Konrad, so if he attacks with a big board full of creatures and we block with a big board full of creatures, and they all die, well, he's dead anyway. Konrad's going to ping him for every one of those creatures that dies. So we got to combo off game 1, and then game 2 we just sort of outvalued him. Kind of you kind of saw the importance of Murderous Rider there. And that's why that's where we used our rares. We just have to have interaction with this deck. We're not doing anything super strong, so we can't just sort of just sit back and combo and hope we outdo what our opponent's doing. We have to sort of control them a bit, and then while we're controlling them, set up our combo with Konrad, and then kill them with it when they're kind of out of action. So yeah, deck did pretty much exactly what we wanted it to do. Very sweet. Alright, playing against Vesper, and yeah, we'll keep this. I guess there's no reason to play these Fable Passages now. You know what, I think we'll play the first one, because we're not doing anything anyway. This at least gets a land out of our deck, so it looks like our opponent might be on a... Okay, just a Jeskai deck. I was thinking it might be Gates, but we'll see. We'll play a Swamp, just in case they play a creature. Okay, it looks like our deck... Yeah, our opponent seems to be playing Gates, from what I can tell. Play Tomebound Lich. Draw a card. Yeah, I'll definitely discard one of these lands. Witch's Oven is good. Oh. I don't know what our opponent's doing. This is like... Jeskai Adventures or something? I have no idea. I think we'll Witch's Oven, play Emery, mill 4. Oh, those were some good mills too. And we'll pass turn. Is this a Fires deck? It's good to be a Fires deck. This is a Fires deck. Okay. So this is Cavalier Fires. Opponent's gonna loot away everything to try to get to a Fires. This isn't the best hand against Fires deck. It's nothing. Okay. We'll mill ourselves for 4 here. There's Syr Konrad. Good. Tap Emery. Target the Witch's Oven. Play that. Play a Fable Passage. Get an island. Secret Keeper. And pass turn. If our opponent gets in with his Cavalier, we can trade the Tomebound Lich with it. Okay, we gotta do this now. So we'll bounce the Cavalier. That lets our opponent loot again, but I think that's better than
Trust me. You'll thank me later.
letting the Teferi just bounce our Lich and letting them get in for a million
Trust me.
damage.
I have a plan.
We're not going to sack to our ovens there, because we get to redo its Enter the Battlefield trigger as well. What in the world? Okay, I don't know what this deck's doing. Yeah, we'll just take 4. Pass turn. Okay. Tomebound Lich. Draw a card. Jeez, we have hit a lot of lands. Secret Keeper. Go for 4. There's the cat. Secret Keeper. Play a Swamp. And pass turn. I guess they could have Expansion Explosion in this deck. What are opponents doing? Okay, I'm just gonna play Cavalier again. Loot things away. Sure. We'll block with the Secret Keeper. Sack the Secret Keeper. Make 2 foods because its toughness is 4 or greater. Oh. And we'll play Cauldron Familiar. Do this whole song and dance. Sacrifice. Cauldron Familiar. Oh yeah, Syr Konrad's great. Play land, play Syr Konrad. And we'll pass turn. Sure, Cavalier. Sure. It's just for 6. Except a fairy.
Oh, I've done the hero thing before.
We will use Syr Konrad. We will sacrifice Cauldron Familiar. Yeah, and now our combo's online. We're gonna just deal a ton of damage here. Double trigger. Syr Konrad hits them for 1, and a cat hits them for 1. Do it again. Sack the cat. Konrad hits them for 1 because something died. Bring back the cat. Konrad hits them for 1 because something's coming out of the graveyard. And also, the cat hits them for 1. I think we activate Syr Konrad. Activate Syr Konrad. Jeez. At least let's just cast Witch's Oven out of the graveyard. Play Witch's Oven. And hit our opponent for 9. I think if we mill a creature here, I think our opponent's dead. If I'm doing the math right in my head. Yes! There's a Cauldron Familiar. That should definitely be game. Bring back the Cauldron Familiar. Look at that. Our opponent thought they were safe. Our opponent has this big board that they put so much work into, but they're just dead. We got our combo put together. Syr Konrad's stuck, and then with these cats, we just drained them like from full life to 0 in no time flat. Bring back the cats. Hit our opponent for 2. Sacrifice a cat, hit our opponent for 1. Bring back the cat, hit our opponent for 2. And sacrifice the cat. Look at that. Wow, wow, wow. Syr Konrad, man. Combo assembled. We're just able to machine gun down our opponent's life, completely not even caring about this huge board they had put together. So, it's like Jeskai Cavaliers. I think this is a Fires deck. I think so. I guess we just bring in the Disdainful Strokes. Just bring in Disdainful Stroke to hit their big spells. Although, I guess if they landed to Fairy first, this is pretty bad. I don't know. This is kind of a hard one. We'll go down a Well. We'll go down I guess a Lich and run it like that. Yeah, we can't keep this. I mean, it's kind of tempting because we have the cat in the oven, but oh, come on. Well, this one might be our sacrificial game to luck. We'll put Konrad on the bottom and Swamp on the bottom, I guess. I think our only hope here is that we mill something great with Secret Keeper and get it back with Blood for Bones. Well, there goes all our Blood for Bones. Jeez. Man, that sucks. Yeah, we'll just play out Backwater, Witch's Oven, Head. Okay, there's another Secret Keeper. That's pretty good. Come on, something good. Ugh. Well, the top of our deck has been pretty homogenous. We've seen a lot of Syr Konrads, a lot of Secret Keepers, and that's about it. And I guess all of our Blood for Bones. And there's Fires of Invention, yep. Not good. Ugh. Just as an aside, I really don't... I don't like cards like this. Fires of Invention and Wilderness Reclamation, these kind of flavorless enchantments that just double your mana. I don't know. It seems really unlikely that they end up just fun. It seems like they either end up broken or... I'm just gonna get back both the Syr Konrads. It's pretty likely our Syr Konrad dies. So it seems... My problem with these cards is they're either broken or they're useless most of the time. Stuff like Wilderness Reclamation and Fires of Invention, and they're not, like, fun, to me at least. Like, okay, this enchantment basically says my mana is doubled for the rest of the game. Like, that's powerful. It's not really interesting or fun, at least to me. Anyway, that's my mini rant. I'm not as mad on Fires of Invention as I am on Wilderness Reclamation, because at least this kind of has a significant cost associated with it. Which is that you can only really play during your own turn. Yeah, we're going to trade with this Cavalier. Okay, we'll play the Secret Keeper, play the Witch's Oven. This would have been nice to hit the Fires of Invention with, but that ship has sailed. Sure, Shimmer we don't care about. No. Yeah, we're gonna counter that. And we're not gonna sack our Merfolk Syr Keeper. Okay. Murderous Rider's pretty good. Ugh, the problem is they just have so much card advantage. Ugh. Yeah, we're just gonna pass. Well, we gotta do it now. I'll hit the Cavalier. It does replace itself pretty much, though. Scry 2 is... Woof. And the problem with playing blue-black is there's really not any great way to get fires off the battlefield. We wanted to catch it before it comes down. Yeah, just let it go. We need this on the battlefield to potentially sack to Blood for Bones, so we don't want to just fire it off now. Ugh. Table Passage, sack it. Look, let's be honest here. The only way I'm winning this game is through some sheer tomfoolery, so might as well play towards that with Syr Konrad. Chances are he's going to have some sort of removal spell, or more likely just kill us this turn, but this at least gives us some weird wacky out. Yeah, okay, we'll sack it. We do get 2 foods out of this, which isn't nothing, but that's about what I expected. There's a Cavalier. Gonna have to block. Block.
I've got time.
Yeah, we'll play Murder Strider. Witch's Oven. And pass turn. We in all likelihood are dead here. Yeah, we can't come back from this. Okay, so yeah, we don't have much to bring in. I think we just have to hope to catch the Fires of Invention coming down. Maybe we bring in the negate. I think we'll bring in the negate. Like, they do have a bunch of Cavaliers that could just get around the negate, but I think the thing we're most likely to lose to is fires, right? Like, in that game, if they didn't have fires, we would have been in a much better position in spite of all their Cavaliers. So I think bringing in... Alright, I think we keep this. Dismal Backwater. Pass turn. We're just hoping for... Not that. Hoping against hope for a Disdainful Stroke. We do have a redraw with Tomebound Lich, so we'll be able to go hunting for it. But we gotta be able to answer that. We're not fast enough to kill them before the Fires of Invention runs away with the game, so we have to have an answer for it. Wow, okay. Disenchant. Yeah, we're gonna play Tomebound Lich. Draw, discard. Discard Cauldron Familiar. And pass turn. Sure. I think we will attack. We're still hunting for that counter spell. Our opponent takes the trade. Okay. Yeah. So we will mill ourselves. Oh my god. That's a lot of cats. We'll play Merfolk Secret Keeper. And pass turn. But, they'll probably have fires here. We just could not find that... Oh, okay. I guess they don't. We'll sacrifice the Secret Keeper. Get two food. Get back a cat. We're not going to get back 2 cats just yet. So we'll pass turn. Forever Young. So that is a way we can run. We can sneakily do something this game. So let's attack with Cauldron Familiar. Get back Cauldron Familiar. And Blood for Bones. Cauldron Familiar. To get back Tomebound Lich. And Merfolk Secret Keeper. Draw a card. Ugh. Yeah, we're having some real trouble finding a counter spell. Mill ourselves for 4. Okay, that's good. And pass turn. So now we've got a Agent of Treachery in our graveyard. So that means we'll be able to steal the Fires of Invention potentially. And our opponent's gonna loot away everything except Fires of Invention. Sure. Sacrifice Cauldron Familiar. Get back Cauldron Familiar. Attack with Tomebound Lich. Okay. Opponent trades. Play Secret Keeper. Play Watery Grave tapped, and pass turn. Wow. Okay. There's Splinter Cleansing. I guess... Hold on. we want to sacrifice Secret Keeper. Get back Cauldron Familiar. Get back Cauldron Familiar. Really what we like to draw here is a land. Okay, Tomebound Lich isn't bad. We'll Tomebound Lich, draw a card, discard Fable Passage. We'll pass a turn. We want to get back that Agent of Treachery. Okay. Well, the positive thing is our opponent has sideboarded so much, it seems like, that potentially they're having trouble finding their fires through all the sideboard cards. Alright, there's Cavalier. But we can steal Cavalier. We draw. Okay, Murderous Rider's good too. I think we just Murderous Rider, kill Cavalier. Play Cavalier. Pass turn. We can't really Forever Young before we draw the land. Ugh. Okay, we'll attack with Murderous Rider. And pass turn. We can bounce Murderous Rider back to our hand and use his ability again if our opponent plays something which they did not. Okay, finally drew a land. So what we're going to do here is attack. Yep. Attack our opponent for 2. Then we're going to Forever Young. Let's see. Forever Young. Get back Tomebound Lich. And Agent of Treachery. Get back those two. And we're going to put Tomebound Lich on top. And play Tomebound Lich. And discard Tyrant Scorn. And now we've got an Agent of Treachery, so if they play out something, we can steal it. Oh wow. Just main phase scrying, huh? Scry something to the top. Oh, Syr Konrad, yes. We'll play Syr Konrad. Attack. And now our opponent can't Wrath. Draw a card. We're gonna discard Agent of Treachery. We ping our opponent. Come on, come on, come on, come on. 2 creatures, 2 creatures, 2 creatures. Ah, only got 1. Okay, we only got 1, but our opponent has to deal with all this without killing any creatures. Like, can they do that? They can't wipe the board. They have to kill Konrad and then wipe the board. Can they do that? Oh, come on. Come on. Alright, nope, that doesn't do it. So they got a lot of creatures, but good game. There goes Konrad. Ah, Syr Konrad pulls it out. Sweet. So we got to see the combo there. You got to see the cat combo. How Syr Konrad can make, you know, the cat. It basically, instead of the cat draining our opponent for 1 every turn, we're hitting him for 3. You know, when the cat dies, we hit him. When the cat comes out of the graveyard, we hit him. And then when the cat does its thing, it hits him for 1. So that's 3 for every cat coming back and forth. And then you have situations like that where you just get your opponent's life points low enough that, you know, they really can't deal with the board. Even if they do have the Wrath, it's like they're dead anyway, because Syr Konrad is going to just ping them to death. So that was awesome. This deck is pretty cool. That was awesome. We won through a planar cleansing, blowing up our entire board. So it just shows the power of the deck. Very cool deck. Sweet. This deck ended up being really sweet. It is not the most powerful deck. It's a little bit janky and a little bit kind of memey, you know what I mean? But it's very fun, and it's very cool when it gets to go off and just machine gun your opponent down with Konrad triggers. Very unique deck, and it's a blast to play, but it probably won't be taken down a Pro Tour. But it's still a lot of fun to play, especially for a budget deck. So let's talk about some potential upgrades we can make for the deck if you want to spin a few more wild cards. So upgrade 1, we even talked about this in the deck tech. Just run another Murderous Rider. If you've got 4, run 4. It's absolutely worth it. It goes so well in this deck, and it's just essential to have this interaction. And really, if you don't have 4, I would even just say spin the wild cards if you've got them, right? This is just, you can't really invest in a more surefire card than Murder Strider. There's just not going to be a better removal spell in Standard, probably for the entire lifetime of Murder Strider, so I would just go ahead and get 4 if you don't already have them. But if you don't, it's okay. You can still get by here with not the full play set, but I would absolutely run 4 in this deck if you could. Secondly, there's Midnight Reaper. Again, we talked about this in the deck tech. We're not running more than 2 of these because of budget concerns only, but in a non-budget deck, I would probably run 4 of these. At least try 4. It's just so powerful with the cat that really you want to put together that combo as often as you can to draw a ton of cards. Another great card to try in this deck would be Cavalier Knights. We just have a lot of low drops to get back with it, and also it'd be great as a reanimation target for Blood for Bones when we just need to remove something. Goes pretty well with Syr Konrad, gives it, by sacrificing a creature and killing a creature, we're going to be able to ping things twice. So yeah, probably worth running Cavalier or 2. Brazen Borrower probably is also worth trying for the same reasons that Murderous Rider is good. It's just interaction that's also a creature, We just want as many creatures in this deck as we possibly can so that our mills are as powerful as they can be. So it might be worth trying some Brazen Borrowers if you got some. I think Murderous Rider is still better, but it would help having more interaction with this deck. Again, it's not a fast deck. It's not like a super unbeatable value engine or anything. It's something that I think needs to be able to interact and stop our opponent while we're setting up our combo. So it's probably worth running, trying some number of these along with the Murderous Riders. And I'm not 100% sure about this last upgrade I'd like to try, but it'd be interesting. And that's Vantress Gargoyle. So Vantress Gargoyle, it has a lot of synergies with our deck, and the fact that, it mills our opponent, it mills us, which will double trigger our Syr Konrad, and also puts cards in the graveyard for our Blood for Bones, and even is pretty good to get back with the Blood for Bones. It's just a 5/4 flyer. But if we went this path and brought in more Vantress Gargoyles, we could also bring in more Imries. And if we brought in more, that would give us more targets for Imri. And that might be pretty good to be able to run a lot of Imries, run a lot of Gargoyles, and just have this, recasting ovens and recasting Gargoyles from our graveyard. It might actually be pretty powerful to have like some sort of like artifact Konrad deck based around Imri and Vantress Gargoyle. So it'd be going a little bit of a different direction. And it would take more rares because I think you'd still need like the Murderous Riders for interaction and such. But it'd be a pretty cool deck, just a little bit less of a budget one. So yeah, that'll wrap it up for the Konrad combo deck. I hope you enjoyed watching because I enjoyed playing. So yeah, see you next time.